Welcome to the Introduction to CAD and CAE. In 3D Part Design Part 2, you model a flange manifold part. The part is used in the manufacture of an automobile engine. Probes are attached to the part to measure fluid flow through the engine. After completing this lesson, you will be able to create a sketch profile of the manifold part, revolve the sketch, create a threaded hole feature, pattern the threaded hole features to create a bolt hole pattern, and add chamfers and fillets to complete the manifold part design. I'm using the default millimeters, going to Sketch, selecting the plane, and then on the View cube, clicking to view the sketch straight on. Go to Line, hover over the origin but do not click, and then just to the right, create a line, and that's 88 millimeters vertically. With that line drawn, I can now repeat line and start to create the profile of the manifold part. I'm referring to a sketch as I'm going along here. So horizontal line is just a series of horizontal and vertical lines at the moment. Then an angled line. And finishing off by hovering over the end point of the 88 millimeter line that acquires that point, and then the end point. And you can see the sketch or the profile is closed by the change in the color. I want to add some constraints. Collinear between those two vertical lines. Horizontal and vertical. Now if I try to add horizontal or vertical to a line where it already exists, I get that error message. Here's a couple of examples of that. So with the constraints completed, I can now add dimensions. So Sketch, Sketch dimension. First dimension is from the origin point to that point, and that's going to be 7.01. The next dimension, again from the origin to the end point, and that's going to be 24 millimeters. Repeat the sketch dimension, again from the origin out to the end, and that dimension is going to be 36.5. I'm going to continue to add some dimensions here, again from the origin to that top point, that's going to be 22. Repeat the sketch dimension from the origin to that vertical line, a dimension of 23. And now an angle dimension. Between the vertical line and the angled line, and that's going to be 32 degrees. I've added a few more dimensions, 31, 5, 10, and 5. So with the sketch complete, I can now create the revolve feature. Let's go to the home view to see it a little better. Select the profile. Select the axis, and it's not the axis of the sketch, but of the display that's shown there. 360 degrees, a full revolution. And I'm creating a new body. So click on OK. And I want to change the appearance of the part, not the physical material, just how it looks, the color. So I'm going to go to the Fusion 360 Appearance Library, into Metal. A couple of choices, either stainless or steel. Let's go back to stainless and take that polished example, just drag it onto the part. And I want to create a hole on that top face. So select the face, move the preview to the center point, and now start to fill in the values. So the depth is going to be 21, and the diameter is 30. And now click on OK, and that creates the hole. Back to the home view. With the hole created, I now want to add a thread. Select that inside face, and check the information that I have here. Size is 30, that's correct, but the designation needs to be changed to M30x2. I'm now going to create a sketch on that top face. What I'm going to do is create effectively a small counter bore in that top face, starting with a circle, center diameter circle, from the origin, diameter 38. Back to the home view, go to modify. I want to cut that downwards, so drag that downwards, and it's a negative value, negative 2.3. So you can see that little counter bore has been created. On the bottom face, I'm going to get a sketch on that flange, and it looks straight at that. Draw a line. This is a guide for a center point. So drag that vertically upwards, and that's going to be a distance of 31.5. That's the center of a hole. Rotate it around so we can see it a little better. Go to Hole, select the center point, and now fill in the values. The hole type is simple. The depth is 10. It's going to be a diameter of 6, and click on OK. Now that's a threaded hole, so create, thread, and select that face. Checking the values. Those are good, so click OK. Now I want to create a pattern, a circular pattern, so go to Pattern, Circular Pattern, and under Pattern Type, I have a number of options. I'm going to select Features. And in my history, select the two features that I want, the hole and the thread. Select my axis. Number of choices. I could actually select some of those outside surfaces. Quantity of 6. You can all grab on that little icon as well. So if you want to just try and play around with the numbers, you don't need to key in a value. And there are the 6 holes. I'm going to create another sketch. This is in the very bottom face. We have to create 2 holes on this bottom face. Start by creating a circle, center point, and then drag that circle out, and that's a value of 30. Now a couple of lines. The ends of these lines will be the centers of the holes. So from the origin out to the circle, same again from the origin out to the circle. And now I need to locate those endpoints. So I'm going to go to Sketch Dimension, from the top point to the lower point, and that's a dimension of 19 millimeters. Now I need to center them. You can see they're not quite correct. So I'm going to repeat the sketch dimension, and from the origin to one of those points, put another value in. So click on the 19. I can see the parameter D29. Divide it by 2, 9.5. Create the holes that I want. Not simple in this case, but counter bore. One center, and select the second center. And start to key in the values. The counter bore depth is 4. The diameter is 8.02. The depth is going to be 18. And the diameter is going to be 4. Click on OK, and just review those 2 holes. You can see those counterbored holes. I have to add a thread, so create, thread, and select the 2 faces. Now you can only select one face at a time. Double check the first one. Those are good. Repeat that process. Back to thread, the values are the same, click OK. And back to the home view. And I want to create some holes on that sloping face. To start, I'm going to create a construction plane at an angle. So I've selected that face and created a sketch on that construction plane. Turned it around and went to Look At, and then in my browser selected the sketch. So I'm now looking straight on or square on to that sketch. This will really help. Sketch, project, and I want to project the origin, which I'm also going to select from the browser. Draw a line from that projected point, vertically upwards, and that's a distance of 51 millimeters. I now have one center, so I want to create a hole. It's going to be a counterbore hole. Be careful, you select that point and start to fill in the values. So the counterbore diameter is 23, a depth of 2, a diameter of 10. Now with depth, you have a number of options. You could say all, but it would go right through the back of the part, so that wouldn't be correct. So I've gone with 30, and you can see that. I'm going to drag it back and forward. Anything less than 30, I'm not quite sure about. So let's stick with 30, and then we'll check it. Click on OK. Rotate it around, and we can see that hole is working nicely. I wanted it to go inside that diameter, which is good. I need 6 of these holes, so I'm going to start by adding a thread, and then a circular pattern. So go to Create, Pattern, Circular Pattern, and again, check that my pattern type is set to Features. In the design history, select what I need, the hole and the thread. Select the axis, any of those circular faces is good. And change the quantity to 6. Click OK, and very quickly you've created those 6 holes. I've been saving this file. In this case, I've called it Flange. So let's see what happens. I click on Save again, and under Description, I'm just going to put in Holes Added. So Hole Pattern Added. Click on OK. I'm going to go to Modify and add some chamfers. On that top edge, I want the chamfer type to be distance and angle. So a distance of 1.5, and I don't want the default of 45. So I'm going to rotate that around to get what I want. So it's certainly less than 45, probably closer to 30. So let's put in an angle value of 30, and then click OK. Right-click, repeat chamfer, go to the inside edge by that thread, back to equal distance, a distance of 2. Click OK. Repeat that again. Select that lower edge, also a value of 2. And on the very bottom, 2 more chamfers to add. These are much smaller, so select the 2 edges. There's going to be 0.5. Now I can go to my drop-down list, and I've actually used this before, so you'll see it's listed there, and sometimes that's a quicker workflow. Click OK. And to complete the part, I'm going to add some fillets. On that lower edge, a value of 4. Towards the top, select that edge. It's going to be a value of 8. And 1 more fillet to complete the part. Select that edge, and this is a value of 3. And that's the part completed. Back to the home view, and of course save the file. And under description, I'm just going to put fillets added, and click OK.